Breaking news. Although it's years in the making, but Corey Kiner is coming home, and that makes me want to do one of these. Nice shot of bourbon. Keep it here on Locked On Bearcats.
Are Locked On Bearcats, your daily podcast on the Cincinnati Bearcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked On Bearcats, your first listen every day. We are free and available everywhere you get your podcast. Bonus content for this Tuesday because, ladies and gentlemen, Corey Kiner, the freshman Cincinnati, is coming home to take his next steps in his collegiate career as a member of Cincinnati Bearcats. This is not breaking news. This is just news that took 2 years to get to Cincinnati. But now, highest-rated recruits that we've seen since, who knows, Mr. Football in 2020. He was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school. He went to LSU. Then he sensed Brian Kelly was coming there and then was like, you know what? I'm going to transfer back home to the University of Cincinnati. So now you got Evan Prater. Now you got Corey Kiner. Now you've got a handful of other Cincinnati players. This is what it's meant to be. And oh, by the way, remember how I told you on yesterday's show that you should feel good about the running back room? Well, you definitely should be feeling good about it now. That deserves another one of these. Some good Woodford Reserve. Got a whole bottle of it here in my apartment, but this is fantastic news. The Bearcats have reasonable expectations to win a third straight conference. And would it shock anyone if they went back to the playoff? It wouldn't shock me. There is now a star player on this team. There is now a bell cow in the running back room. There is also now every more reason to start Evan Prater at quarterback. Because imagine your offense with Prater and Kiner. Are you really going to start? Ben Bryant has more experience. He came back to the University of Cincinnati after a full season of starting at Eastern Michigan. I want your offense to be as explosive as it can be and as productive and prolific as it can be. Corey Kiner, you know, as we saw when he was at Roger Bacon. There's a reason that he for Ohio in 2020. The Bearcats now have 2 of the last 3 Mr. Footballs on their team. That is unheard of when you think about it. The last 2 Mr. Footballs in the state of Ohio, no less, are on the University of Cincinnati. Maybe that's eating some Built Bars. This is the time I fear that I've pretty much given up on all of my New Year's resolutions. It feels like it's not really a resolution because I actually enjoy eating them. All Built Bars are chocolate and they're low calorie, high protein. You can replace your candy bars with these because they're better. A typical candy bar can be anywhere from 200 to 300 calories. You can go to Built.com, scroll down the macros chart, and you'll be blown away when you see that Built Bars, most of them only contain 130 calories, only 4 grams of sugar and net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. You compare that to a candy bar, which usually has around 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. At Built Bar, they're all about the taste. They make it taste delicious first, then figure out how to make it healthy. And I don't know how, but they pull it off every time. So go to Built.com and use promo code LOCKED15 to get fitter. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. Corey Kiner is going to seasons of eligibility with the Cincinnati Bears, all the more better. Remember how I said that the running back room this year, it's either going to be, you're going to have someone break out, and that one person is going to break out. It's either going to be an experienced running back like Charles McClellan, or it's going to be a youngster like a Ryan Montgomery or a Miles Montgomery or an Ethan Wright. Well, now you have Corey Kiner. I mean, think about the running back options that you have for the next 3 years. Montgomery's going to be here for at least another year. Corey Kiner's going to be here 3 years. Miles Montgomery's going to be here for a lot more than that. Ethan Wright's probably got he has 2 to 3 years left. Think about the number of options you're going to have a running back going into the Big 12. And this is Corey Kiner saying, I don't want to play in the SEC. I want to go play in the Big 12. I'm going to go back home to Cincinnati. And maybe he didn't go to Cincinnati because he wanted to play right away. Well, he did last year. He scored 2 touchdowns, had over 300 yards rushing. But he's going to get a heavy dose of carries this year. He can be that next player in a long line of running backs, guys like Jerome Ford and Jarrett Dokes and Michael Warren. And now you have a hometown product who's going to be leading the way. It almost feels like that this was something that it's 2 years in the making. It really is. To get a hometown feel for this Bearcats team. And I think that's what you have to love about this team. The best players on last year's team, on 2020, in 2019 were all homegrown players. Josh Wiley, Javon Hicks. Now Corey Kiner this year. Jarrell White. I mean, you can go all the way back to the Brian Kelly years and the best players on those teams. Tony Pike. And then you think about Malik Vann. You think about Javon Hicks. You think about, Michael Warren as an Ohio recruit. All these great players that are coming to Ohio, that are coming from the state of Ohio, wherever it is, to play for the Cincinnati Bearcats. You should really appreciate this if you don't. Think about the perception of the university. A transfer from LSU is going to Cincinnati. A transfer from LSU could have gone anywhere. Could have stayed in the SEC. Could have gone to the Big Ten. He went to Cincinnati. He didn't go to Ohio State. He went to Cincinnati. If you think Cincinnati's still far behind Ohio State when it comes to college football, you're wrong. I'm sorry, which team made the playoff last year and which team did not? Yeah. This shows that Cincinnati can recruit the absolute best players. They can land the best players in the transfer portal, and that's going to serve them immensely well going to the Big 12. Does Corey Kiner give the Bearcats a chance to make the playoff for a second straight year? It's hard to say no. This Bearcats team just got a whole lot better. The running back room was a position you could already feel good about. Now you can feel really good about. Now a word from betonline.net, your number one source for all your betting stats and sports info. You can find all of the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs and the start of the Major League Baseball season. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, from live betting to the playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. And with the Bearcats seasonal start is in less than 5 months, when they head to Arkansas to take on the Razorbacks September 3rd. And now they'll have a running back who's played in the SEC on their team. Whoever does start a quarterback is not going to have 2 great tight ends and a great running back room to work with, plus a pretty good wide receiving core. I'm talking myself into thinking this team can be really good. Maybe you're doing the same. Because damn it, this team can be that way. Just because they lost Desmond Ridder and Sauce Gardner and Jerome Ford. Corey Kiner could be Jerome Ford 2.0. You know, I don't like to say a player is going to be 2.0. Corey Kiner could be that. He really could. I'm not exaggerating. Just want to come on and give my thoughts on the breaking news that broke, obviously, on Monday. Or rather, yesterday. Corey Kiner coming to the Cincinnati Bearcats. How about that? How about that? Stay tuned for Locked On Bearcats coming up today. Kalu Izepke transferring to the Bearcats in men's basketball. What that means, we'll talk about the latest from Bearcats baseball. And then, of course, throughout the week, more from the end of spring practice, mock drafts galore, some guests potentially, and a lot more. Follow me on Twitter at Frankie_90 with 2 N's, NNATI. You can follow me on Instagram, AlexFrank9_, and email me at alex3frank@gmail.com. That's all lowercase, alex3frank@gmail.com. Don't forget on YouTube to subscribe. You can like and share a comment on this video. And if you're downloading from Apple, Spotify, or Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcast, to like, share, comment, and give it a rating. All of that helps more Bearcats fans like you find this podcast. For Locked On Bearcats, I'm Alex Frank. Thank you for listening, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.